This question comes in from Brent. What the heck is a confined space? Thanks, Brent. I know a lot of people struggle with this, and a lot of times I go out to see my clients in the field, and they always say, I don't have any confined spaces. I don't have any. I've been working here 15 years. We don't have any confined spaces. And on the inside, I have to laugh because I know when I do the survey, I'm going to find at least one confined space, and I usually find about 6, 7, 8. And remember, we're usually working in low risk areas, but there's still confined spaces. So this is one of those principles that is extremely basic. However, for whatever reason, it gets really confusing to people. Let me break it down for you. A confined space has to meet 3 basic requirements. 3, not 1, not 2, all 3. If all 3 of those aren't present, it's not a confined space. Plain and simple. All 3. So what are those 3 requirements? Well, here they are. It has to be large enough to bodily enter and perform some work. It has to have limited entry and exit. And it has to be not designed, or let me put it in a different way, it should not be designed for continuous human occupancy. So that's it. Those are the 3 requirements. And it must meet all 3 of those. Think about it like a triangle. At the top, we have, can we bodily enter it? At the bottom left, we have, is it designed for continuous human occupancy? On the bottom right, does it have limited entry and exit? So that triangle has to meet at all 3 points. And when it does, it creates a confined space. So remember, if there's one of those angles that is missing, it doesn't connect the other 2, and therefore it's not a confined space. It has to meet all 3. So let me break down these a little bit further, because you're probably saying, hey, you know what? Those are the 3 requirements, but what does it really mean to bodily enter it? Well, if I put my foot in it, am I bodily entering? No, you're not. You have to be able to lay down inside of it, get inside of it, and this is the misnomer. Sometimes you may get all the way in except just your foot. Yes, you are bodily entered at that point, right? So I'll see some of these videos where they show a tank and it says the guy can't get in there. I'm here to tell you, there's some really small spaces that people finagle in. I've seen kids go through the little door window to break into schools and, steal computers and things like this. So when I say kids, I'm talking about 16, 17-year-olds that are pretty thick and can get through these things. So just remember, sometimes it's difficult to get in, and that's the second part. So limited entry and exit. Is it limited? Do I have to use a ladder to get in there? Do I have only one way in and one way out, which is the same way? Is it one of these spaces where I have to crawl to get in there, where I have to actually kind of pull myself in? It's not something that has a door or an open doorway, a threshold that you pass over, something that you can walk a wheelchair into or just walk through. So a closet is typically not a confined space because, again, it doesn't have restricted means of entry and exit. We're talking about those spots where maybe you climb a ladder and then you open up a roof hatch and now you have to go out there. Okay, that roof hatch would be that limited access, but that doesn't make the roof a confined space, right? So let's take a look at this last portion, which is designed for continuous human occupancy. Remember the word designed. It means that its intention is what's at point here. Is it intended for you to do work in there on a routine basis? Hey, you show up in the morning and you bring your lunch and you sit down at a desk and you work in there, then that's designed for you to be in that space all the time. So grain silos, tanks, electrical vaults, access panels that go into roofs, catwalks above theater stages, these types of things are not designed to be continuously occupied. So that's a little bit further of a breakdown on those. Just remember this, the triangle. Remember the triangle. You have to have all 3 components. If it doesn't meet all three, then it's not a confined space. So with that, this goes one step further into what we call permit required confined spaces, and that just means that there's a hazard inside there. We'll talk about that on another video. I hope you enjoyed this, and please don't forget to subscribe because we'll be bringing you more content just like this.